Yet again, week 11, kind of like week 10. Couple good games. The rest, kind of could do without. Um, some interesting statistics. My man A-Rod getting hurt in his victory. But besides that, like I said, there were a few games that were entertaining. The rest, I was good, not worried about, not watching, catching the box scores. I don't know.
It wasn't a week that had a lot of tantalizing matchups going into it. There were a couple on the back end that had some juice to them.
Yeah, the ones that you thought were going to be the high scoring really weren't.
Yeah.
Um, you had teams that should have handled business, taking it down to the wire. And many could say maybe the king is dead. They're partying in Denver. I
They
don't know.
are. They are.
I don't
we
know.
are we are gonna get into that one, but we'll start off with this Sunday nighter. This the fabled Lions offense taking a little while to get going in this one, and Philly kind of looking like the Philly offense that we saw in Lambeau.
So in other words, it's whatever. I guess if you want to say it's a great defensive battle, then okay, I guess you can hang your hat on that. But it's I don't know, man. For all the hype the Lions, got in the preseason and the beginning of the season, I don't know what it is. It's like they just show up when they show up. I'll give Philly, their credit. They've played some solid defense. Their offense is kind of sporadic as well. So it's gonna be whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is gonna pull this out.
Yeah, I mean these are we talked about these teams kind of being the elder statesmen as far as the NFC's higher list, the hierarchy, and that like you said, they've both got this habit of just playing when they want to play, basically.
It's one of those things where Goff has more yards at the half, but it's I don't know, man. It's the offense just seems off. There's just something doesn't seem like it's just nothing's clicking. Give the Eagles credit; they're doing what they're doing and getting the scores when they have to. I guess it doesn't matter if it's Sunday night. The bright lights, as long as you can get your points, that's what counts. But they've also got to deal with the AJ Brown issue. That's was this week's fun, and now they're just trying to keep pace because right now, the way the NFC shaping up, these two teams are basically probably distant second and third. The way it's
Yeah,
starting to really shape up.
let's go into that a little bit more. What is the latest AJ Brown drama?
Well, let's see. After his Twitch, little comments about take me off your fantasy team, yada yada. He met with the owners there in Philly and basically promised to keep his issues off of social media. So basically, he's probably just gonna sit there, go through the rest of the season, and it is what it is. But I think there's a lot of bigger problems going on there, and if they don't really involve him in the offense, he's probably getting shipped sometime next year. I could see it happening.
Yeah, which would be it's obviously past the trade deadline, so you can't kind of dump the problem now. You just kind of have to put a lid on it, or force feed him so he's happy until you can ship him out of town.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they have an embarrassment of riches, and just because you've got all the talent doesn't mean it works out. So I
Yeah.
think next year if they do decide to ship him out, I think probably Philly ends up in a better spot. They've got weapons still. It's not like believe me, it's AJ Brown. No doubt he's an elite player, but from the way that they're playing this year, they seems like they can play without him, no problem.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, plenty of weapons. Smith, Goddard, Barkley, of course. Uh, hey, maybe
Mm-hmm.
Tank Bigsby starts to become an option again.
Hey, you never know the new two-headed monster. It just took Bigsby to get out of Jacksonville.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll get to that. Well, believe me, I want to get to that more in a second. I've got some harsh words for Jim Harbaugh's crew. Um, we'll get to your game. I'm sure a losing streak wasn't what you had. Wasn't what you planned on observing this Sunday, but he kind of caught the sharp edge of the Josh Allen blade on this week.
Well, I did pick them to lose this game in the offseason, so I'm not totally surprised. It's one of those things where the defense just faltered. You know, there were breakdowns in the secondary. One or two plays and this game goes a totally different way. It just seems like until, you know, we're 100% healthy and all the weapons are back, that's going to be the story of this team. So, but, you know, to be able to, you know, rush the ball like we did, no one thought Sean Tucker was going to put up over 120 yards on Buffalo. So, hey, you know, they had to have this game for them. They needed this game more than we did, if you're really looking at the division. So, of course, I wanted it, but it is what it is. You know, you never want to lose, but you know, give Josh Allen his credit. But you're starting to see some of the old Josh Allen start to creep up, and that's going to be a bad thing, especially down the stretch. He had the interception on the first drive, and now it's become more okay. Josh, go out and win it for us, as opposed to last year when it was a whole team effort. You know, Keon Coleman not in the game today for, you know, missing a team meeting. I'm sure that hurt them a bit. Cook did have a touchdown, but he was pretty much a non-factor the whole time. There was just some breakdowns in the defense of Tampa, and when that happens, you can't do that against a guy like Josh Allen.
Yeah, and it probably makes Tampa feel a little bit better that Sean Tucker did have the game he did, considering Bucky Irving is seemingly when is he going to play, and increasingly more unclear an answer as the weeks go on.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you've got, you know, someone becomes expendable in the offseason. If you're trading for some depth or, you know, draft picks or whatever, if you've got three backs that can, you know, produce, you know, you do what you got to do. But it was good to see the run game open up. Yeah, I don't know what if Buffalo can win and sustain it this way. They're definitely gonna have to be able to run the ball, because if they depend on Josh doing what he does every game like that, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen for them.
No, they've tried it enough, and they tried it enough in the past and it's had you know, high risk, high reward type of results. To your earlier point, did Buffalo need it more because of what's going on up here? They have to convince themselves that they're still the Bills and they're still elite, or did they need it more from a nuts and bolts perspective as far as what the standings look like?
I think they need it everywhere. I think it was a win that needed to happen, and I think they like the fact that it was home helped out a lot. But no, they need it because let's be honest, you know, beginning of the season it was Buffalo's division to win, and everyone basically penciled them in, and it was just okay, just get through the season, and then it's either you or possibly Denver that was going to overtake Kansas City. So right now, you know, they get the win, but they're still trying to figure themselves out, and they're hoping that New England slips up. But New England's schedule going down the stretch is freaking easy as all. That schedule is sweet.
Yeah.
So who knows if New England slips up at all? They might slip up one more time, but Buffalo can't. They're on the outside looking in right now. They're battling with right now Baltimore and Kansas City for a wild card.
We Beach here wants to give you a shout out on your jersey collection across the back wall, as they're happy about the Dolphins' performance overseas.
Thank you. Yeah, there's more over there and all that fun stuff. But the Dolphins, man, pulling it out this morning. I'll tell you, man. Sometimes you got to win ugly, and that was some ugly ball. That was some ugly ball. But I'll give the Dolphins credit. They were able to pull that out. Unreal. Give them credit.
Maybe Mike McDaniel will be fired after all.
I don't think so, but I think it's going to be, you know, he goes like on a 3-game losing streak, then they're going to say, okay, see you later. But that's all tied to Tua and everything else right now.
Yeah. All right. I know you're going to love to talk about this because we have so much fun when the Chiefs take the L. And this one, a late minute dagger to the heart against the Broncos. This obviously hurts in the division. It hurts in the conference. It hurts because Kansas City's already on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. So, can you definitively say after this Week 11 loss that the Chiefs are cooked?
It's not looking good. Like you never want to say it's over. It's just there's still, they have 7 games left. They're 5-5, but right now, unless Denver just falls apart, they're not winning the division. Their best chance is wild card as of right now, and this was a game. This was the type of game where if this was last year, they figure out a way and win it. That's how bad it's just flipped.
Yeah, it's very un-Chiefs-like to see the Chiefs being the ones losing a close game late, because that's normally the other way around. Kansas City's has the magic at the end and preserve a victory and kind of, I don't want to say shock the world, but kind of make everyone scratch their heads of like, wait, why did they win this game? How did they win this game?
Exactly. The run game was pretty much non-existent. Yes, the weapons are there. We're going to send the guys streaking down the field and just chuck the ball around. Didn't really work. Now, mind you, Denver had a lot of guys out defensively. Pat Surtain was out. There were a lot of guys who were out and a lot of guys who stepped up. So you've got to give Denver their flowers. Bo Nix, stood in, and he was under distress for a lot of the game, but he delivered when he had to. So give Denver their due, and right now they're the kings of the AFC West.
Yeah, and a gap that's widening even more due to another game we'll get to in a moment. So did it kind of make you feel a little bit better about Denver's future prospects in this postseason? Because we've talked about them being in the past teasing a little flirtatious stay at the penthouse.
No, they're gonna have to be able to run the ball. Like they've got to run the ball a little better for me, honestly. I think when you solely depend on Bo Nix offensively, I don't think he's there yet. So they've got to make sure they've got a run game that's going to complement him, because of basically I really feel they're going to live and die off their defense. Their defense is just that good. So yeah, I don't think right now, yeah, they're penthouse safe. It's not going to happen right now. Like I said, unless they just literally pull a Jaguars or some mess like that, and just be the team, then just fall apart like the Jags have done in years past as one team. Like kind of like Buffalo, Baltimore, teams that, we put on that pedestal and just fizzled and just have lost the luster. Right now, Denver they do it their way. So Denver's it.
Did you see any bright spots from the running game today, or was it a situation where they're going against a strong defense? So you kind of give them a pass for not having success in this one, especially this being the first game really that it's the RJ Harvey show.
No, he had some spurts. They some picked up some first downs and such. They just need to be able to move the chains. That's going to be the thing. As long as they can move the change and get into third and manageables, then Bo Nix is going to be all right. That's the key. But they've got to make sure it's a change of pace, not just running up the middle and, thinking you're going to, get your 5-6 yards that way. Just a little change of pace here and there. But Harvey's the guy. And a lot of people thought he was going to be the guys at the start of the season. Unfortunately, our guy, JK, he lasted like 9 games. It was impressive. We thought he was going to last the season.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like career high in games played for J.K. Dobbins.
We thought he was in the clear. But now it's Harvey's time, and we're going to see what Denver does. But like I said, it's all going to come down to their defense. Their defense will take them as far as they want to go.
Yeah, well, hopefully those injuries aren't something that lasts very long, because I would agree that's their big strength. And if the injuries derail things, they may not be able to keep up with the Patriots, the Colts, the teams that actually are staying a little more consistent.
Those are the only 2 teams. Everybody else is a cluster, so that's it. I don't know who you were gonna name after those two. I was like, there ain't nobody else.
I thought about it. I'm like, I can't even think this one.
Oh, wait a minute. We've just Baltimore because Baltimore, because they're going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
It's in the script. It's in the script.
Yeah, that's another one. We got a couple minutes to get to, but I do want to make note of that one. Next up, now this one, the box score is a little deceiving because it looks like the Rams barely survived this one, but they were really leading this game the entire time by a half decent margin until the very, very end. So did you kind of just we talked about this being a clash of the Titans game and possibly a little bit of an offensive explosion. It was relatively low scoring. So is this the one where you just put the label on Seattle? Hey, you guys aren't ready yet?
Yeah, this was the game that should have been like high 30s, low 40s. That's what I thought this game was going to be. I just thought it was going to be an explosion. Yeah, it's a divisional game. They didn't get blown out. They, just, the Rams just had their number. So it's one of those things where it's like, all right, we dropped this one. Now we just got to come back strong and handle business. Again, this division, I think only one team, of course, comes out as the division winner. The way the NFC is shaping up, the second team could be a wild card team. It's going to be kind of fun, but these two teams they're going to meet again. They really are, and if they can stay within a game or two of each other, it's definitely going to come down to at the end of the season for sure. But give the Rams their flowers. They're right now I think they're the best team in the NFC right now.
We do want to give a quick shout out on the topic of the NFC West. Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record with 47 completions in a loss to the Niners.
You really got this poor man. 47 throws, man. Like, come on. Like, I don't know what they're doing in Arizona, man. That franchise is a hot mess. 47 times. But hey, he's slinging it. That's all you can say. He's slinging it. I don't know. If you had him starting in fantasy, I hope you got a couple points out of those 47 attempts, man. But good Lord.
Yeah, just when we thought the Niners were out of it, they get a win over the lowly Cardinals, and they're still kind of hanging around.
The Niners are going to be that team that may not make the playoffs, but could end somebody's playoff run.
Right. And they don't have to really worry about losing out on high draft pick because they still got plenty of veterans that high draft pick's probably not a deal breaker to them.
No, it's not. But when you start to see the window close, you kind of sit there and you're like, okay, do we got to change things up?
Do we have to eat Brock Purdy's contract?
Yeah. What was he worth the money? There are these questions that are going to be in the off season. So with the Niners, we'll see what happens. But they're still alive.
Yeah. Another game that kind of will take a much different perspective based on how this, Lions and Eagles situation goes. The Chicago Bears.
Who would have thought? Somehow the Bears tripped themselves into 7-3?
7-3. The ugliest 7-3 you've ever seen, but 7-3.
5 come from
atrocious.
5 come from behind victories. Like I don't know, man. I give them credit. It's the ugliest 7-3 I've ever seen. But hey, they're figuring it out. I like I said, Caleb is slowly starting to figure it out. He's he still has those moments, I think, where he wants to try to be dazzling instead of just being simple. But they've got weapons around him, and he's putting the ball where it needs to go. Yes, that defense is it's hit or miss. Sometimes they're there, and sometimes they're not. But 7-3, it's crazy. They could end up right now at the end of the night a better record than the Lions.
Yeah, do you think that this game was this relationship between Caleb and Ben Johnson was just a situation where they needed game action to get used to each other. I mean, it's hard to say that because they've maintained this record the whole time, but
I think Ben Johnson has told Caleb, hey, this is what you got to do. This is how it is. If you don't like it, then I guess there's the door. I honestly think because Ben Johnson to me strikes me as a guy who's like, you know what? We're great together. Yeah, let's be cool. But when it's time, and it's my way or the highway. And you've got to learn how to be a quarterback. I think when Caleb came in, he was doing his own thing, and there was no real like, hey, this is what we got to do. It's time to be a pro. This is how we do it. This is not USC. No scrambling around and being fancy. Like that doesn't work. We keep it simple. So Ben Johnson comes in and he's like, hey, this is how we did it in Detroit. I'm going to change some things up here. It looks more of like a Detroit run operation. And Caleb, I think, is learning. He's like, hey, man, if I want to be a quarterback in this league, I got to listen to this guy. So I think that's what Ben's brought to this team. And I think they're starting to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say to pin a need as far as a running back because the defense needs so much help. Their offensive line could use some help. But if they could get someone to pair with Swift like the Lions had with Gibbs and Montgomery, that could almost, like you said, like this is how it's going to be in Detroit. A move like that could almost put a Detroit-like feel to the offense.
Oh, yeah, definitely, But it might be a situation where they're just looking for a situational guy to spell some relief for Swift. Who knows if Swift is the end all? They might sit back after this year. I don't know what his contract status is and say maybe we go a little younger, try to go for a little more speed. Who knows? But there's definitely pieces receiver wise, tight end. I think they're set at. So it's just I think you focus on the defense if in the draft or something like that, something comes across. Running back wise, take a look at it. But I think you shore up that defense a bit, and we could be talking about them being the head of that division next year.
Yeah. Would you peg them as the biggest surprise? I mean, I know my Colts are the easy answer, but.
Yeah, I would, because we just didn't know we were going to get out of Caleb, and it was like, okay, here we go. And when the season started, it was like, oh, same old Bears. Here we go. Caleb's doing his thing, and it's just things just didn't seem to click. But now, like I said, 10 games in, 5 come from behind wins. That's great. You don't want to hang your hat on that, because if that becomes the norm, there's going to be a point where it bites you. But they're showing that they can come back. It's a trait, and we'll see what happens. This division, a lot of people thought it was going to be basically either Detroit or Green Bay, and right now those teams are kind of floundering, and here's Chicago right there ready to take it.
Yeah. Speaking of comebacks, at one point today I had a pretty decent idea that we were gonna come on here and we're gonna be reopening the doors to the penthouse for the Ravens. They managed to survive and beat the Browns anyway, but they were kind of down in the dumps for a while in this game.
Yet again, the Ravens fight back and pull it off to one more step to claim their rightful throne, as all of America has ordained them as AFC North champs. I just don't get this team. I understand, Cleveland has a good defense. There's no doubt about it. Myles Garrett is making a case for Defensive Player of the Year. He's unbelievable.
Ooh, I know that hurt you to say.
All right, Myles Garrett, whatever. But with all the talent on this team, I just don't get the offensive struggles. I didn't think they were going to put 50 on Cleveland, but come on. Literally, Dylan Gabriel gets hurt. Shador gets to come in and doesn't really almost lead them to victory, but keeps them somewhat in the game. So for everyone who just assumes that, Baltimore's going to, take their place and take this division, I'd pump the brakes a little bit. This offense has got to figure it out, because if they don't start scoring some points, I don't know if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, if the Browns can, especially a chunk of the game with Dylan Gabriel can maintain a lead over you, there's some serious issues to figure out.
Yeah, not to take anything away from Dylan Gabriel, but his body of work so far this year says otherwise. So,
Yes.
but no, Baltimore's hanging out at the penthouse, getting DoorDash, living the dream. They got the keys, man. They're running the show.
Have they made their way down to the lobby yet, or they still are firmly entrenched in their booking?
Oh no, they're firmly entrenched. They got to score like 25 points. Like they've got to put a game together. Like I don't trust this team. I don't trust Baltimore. I can't. I want to, but I can't.
Being that this was Shador Sanders' debut in a certain sense, not getting record of a win or a loss, but his first real meaningful action. Is there anything to make you think like maybe Dylan Gabriel's out an extra game due to concussion protocol and he'll take this job and hold on to it, or it was just kind of like, yeah, this kid's not ready, still a project?
Well, if Dylan's not out of protocol, then it's the next week. It's the Shador show. That's just what it is. Next man up. That's it. But honestly, Cleveland yet again screws up the quarterback situation. After 3 games, you can kind of see that Dylan just didn't have it, and the fact that the head coach and everyone just wanted to push Dylan Gabriel on everybody, say we're going to stick with this guy. We're going to stick with this guy. See what you have in Shador. Because in a couple of weeks, I believe, the masseuse is back. I think he becomes active. I think they can activate him, so he may finish the season. So then you wasted a 5th-round pick on this kid, and it's like, for what? You never gave him a real chance. So I think if Dylan clears protocol, he's starting next week. If not, it'll be Shador.
Is there anything about Shador that you thought like, okay, there might be something here, or was it just not enough to tell, or did you think like, no,
No,
he's not ready yet?
I don't think there was enough. Like literally, you got to give him a game. You got to let him play. Like he came in and then it was like, okay, fine. Like, but no, I couldn't get a read. Like I need to see him start the game. Like give him a full game. Let's see how he runs the team.
Yeah. Well, Bucks McGee, it's time for our favorite game.
And it's good. The Cam Little Show.
The Cam Little Show. Yeah, that's a good nickname. I like that.
Maybe throw us some swag or something.
Yes, we're still waiting for Ben DiNucci, but maybe Cam Little will have more success getting us some swag. The first one is honestly one giant WTF. We were back on the wagon singing the Chargers praises. And not only do they go down to Jacksonville and lose, but they get waxed.
Yep. You wanted a team in the lobby? This may be the team.
Oh.
Like Jacksonville's got a quality defense. Like they were leading the league in takeaways at one point. Like they have a good defense. I just don't get the Chargers, man. It's like they start to play well, and you're like, all right, here we go. This is the run we thought was going to happen. Then nope, they pull off this mess, and you're just like another team like you want to believe in, but you can't. I just don't get it.
How much is it just the injuries, or is it at certain points like, all right, you guys got to deal with injuries because you've been dealing with them for enough of the season. You should be able to figure it out with your depth.
All teams have to deal with injuries. It's the way of life. Like you can't go through a season and assume you're going to be healthy and you're going to have everybody. So, and yes, you've taken hits to your offensive line. I get that, but to play like that against the Jags, come on, man. Like, no, I can't buy it. I can't.
Yeah, and it doesn't look very good. Like to our previous conversation about Denver able to deal with injuries to their most important facet of their team and still beat probably a better quality team than the Jags are.
Yeah,
it doesn't look well compared to your most closest division rival right now.
So basically the Jags feel like, they're on the comeback trail, which I don't think is going to happen, but they're in the mix. But yeah, the Chargers, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I guess, you chalk it up to a stinker, but you've got to figure this out because it's only going to get tougher as the season goes on. Right now, we're getting close to that home stretch where, you start to look at those games and say, okay, I've got so many games and I need to win this to have a shot of the
Yeah.
playoffs. So, man, the Chargers in the lobby. In the lobby.
Another extra point. We were all excited for Jameis Winston to finally see the field. And I mean, the Packers still wound up winning, but it went down to the wire.
I give Jameis credit, man. He's sitting on the bench all season, being the cheerleader, the rah-rah guy, got his shot, and Giants almost pulled it off. I think if they had, Scattaboo and maybe, one or the two weapons, then they probably could have pulled this off. So I can't totally.
Neighbors.
Yeah, neighbors would have been nice, you know, for all the talent that Green Bay has, and they just skate by the Giants. They're like on the second floor, second, third
Yeah,
floor.
I was gonna say. I mean, here it was. It just said I was ready. I thought we were gonna lock the Ravens in full time, and I kind of also thought we were gonna be ready to lock the Packers in full time.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Packers are just nah, man. Packers are pretenders. They're just that's what it is. Like once the Parsons trade happened, everyone was like, "Oh, this team is ready. This team is ready to take the NFC and just run with it." And they barely can beat the Giants. They can't get out of their way half the time. It's bad. I don't trust Green Bay either. I trust them as much as I trust the Chargers. Like you just don't you don't know what Green Bay team you're gonna get. Like for the first couple of weeks with the Parsons trade and everything, it was like, oh man, the Green Bay was like must see TV. Let's see what this team is. Like it's on. Now I'm like, oh great, wow, all right, here we go. Let's see how they screw this up.
So another team where we've got waiting in the lobby for a room.
Oh no, they're like on the first or second floor. No, they're in. They get a room. They get a room. They get a room because like they're just non-consistent. They're a mess. They're a mess. And everyone was all about them, and they were gonna they were ready to take the NFC by storm. And no, nah, nah.
uh, Another interesting game in the NFC North. Um, I don't know if either one of these teams is in a position where we were ready to get them a room and get the pillows fluffed because we weren't, we kind of were down on the Bengals and, the Steelers, I think we were kind of waiting, but they've, managed to make things work. Now Aaron Rodgers had a bit of a wrist injury, but they still managed to put up 30 plus on the Bengals' horrific defense.
Yeah, because Mason Rudolph like finished it off. So here's the thing. I never thought that Pittsburgh was going to be great to begin with, and I didn't think the Bengals were. The Bengals were going to be all offense, no defense. So it wasn't like I had no hope for them. So I wouldn't even put them in the fraudulent hotel. Like it was like, all right, they probably were going to go 9-8, maybe 10-7, and get their doors blown off the first round of the playoffs because they can score 40 points but give up 48. I used to say 43, but now it's just straight up like 48. And then the Steelers are just like, it's one of those things where we were surprised they started as well as they did because we were like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, oh boy, this will be fun. We were like by week 10, he'll either be gone or he'll somehow get Tomlin fired. We just didn't know how this was going to turn out. And they've played nice, but their offense is really nothing spectacular, and they've treaded water for the most part. Now you've got this injury to Rodgers. I think what people are saying is it could be a break, so could be a couple weeks. Who knows? So Mason Rudolph, who should have had the job at the beginning, should have been given the chance.
Superman.
Clark Kent is taking over, and maybe Clark Kent takes this division. I don't know. I don't know. The Steelers defense is adequate. It's decent. I think people are still kind of thinking it's the Steelers' defense of old. They have one good game, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're back! Oh, they're back!" Blah blah blah, and then they throw up a stinker. Same thing, but they won. They right now they control that division. They just have to keep winning.
Yeah, a much needed win to keep the Ravens off their tails.
Yeah, because we all know the league wrote the script, and the Ravens are going to miraculously rise like a phoenix out of the ashes and take first place. Blah blah blah. Here's the thing. Like I said, I don't trust Baltimore. It could be a situation where this comes down to the end of the season, and if the Steelers can just put up enough points, they may take this by default. They may just sneak it by a game. I don't know. It's just this division is so bad now.
I actually think that is the finale against each other. So we may be watching this game to decide all the marbles on Sunday Night Football in the final week.
That sucks. Wow. Well, I guess it's football. It could be worse.
Mason Rudolph in primetime. That's a dream for you, right?
Yeah, that's true. Mason Rudolph, man. Don't ask me why, man. Those backup quarterbacks, they just got a place in my heart. Mason Rudolph.
And this one, I mean, I guess in a certain sense, you were kind of hoping to take a little bit of the sting out of the Bucs loss by seeing at least the Panthers lose and maintain that little bit of a gap there. But yet again, the Falcons can't even do that right, dropping a thriller in overtime.
The Falcons are just a putrid state of society. I just don't get the Falcons whatsoever. Now, mind you, they were up like 20-7, and I'm like, oh man. I go, oh, here it is. I go, here's this little Falcons run. So I'm in my head. I'm like, all right. So, but the Falcons are far back ahead. It's all right. I'm feeling all right. And next thing you know, here comes a little engine that could, Bryce Young. And then I'm like, this thing's going to overtime. You've got to be kidding me here. But you know what? That's what, everyone who picked the Falcons to win the division and all that, that's what you get. That's what you get. I didn't feel bad. A part of me was like, all right, go ahead, Carolina. I'm not mad. Hey, it is what it is. If Carolina pulls this off, God bless them. God bless them. I'm not going to be mad because it ain't the Falcons and it ain't the Saints. I'm good. I have no ill will. I got no ill will. I enjoy watching Atlanta and New Orleans just fall in the toilet. I got no problems with it. But yeah, you give Carolina credit, man. They're scratching and clawing, and 6-5 now. 6-5.
Yeah, I don't know whether you ever want a number one draft pick to be, an average and a game manager and that sort of thing. But like you said, the little engine that could, Bryce Young. I mean, he's small as he's proven his small stature doesn't lift him up to levels Drew Brees did, but so far he's at least figuring it out. David Canales at least has a plan of how to use him.
And know what? No, it's just the fact that they can run the ball. They can run the ball. Rico is like that. Rico Dowell is like, you know what, Dallas? I'm glad I'm gone because I'll tell you, if Carolina doesn't sign him, they're not 6-5.
Yeah.
They may be 3-8.
Rico Dowdle's probably won 3 games by himself this year.
Exactly. So and their defense has played surprisingly well, and I think they kind of take the underdog role quite well. No one believed in them at all, and here they are, 6-5. So now it's the point now where the Falcons have to figure out their life. They got no idea what they're doing. So they're 3-8 now. Yeah, good luck with that. So you and the Saints will battle for top 10 picks. Congratulations. Actually, you don't even have first round picks because you gave them away to Cleveland because you made the great draft night trade for James Pierce for your defense. Yeah, that's working out well. Go Atlanta, where the players play.
Where the players play. The players going to die.
Yep, Kyle Pitts is packing his suitcase as we speak. He's like, let's just go. Just put me on IR. I got a hangnail. Just put me on IR, man. I'm good.
It's a weird feeling that, you're feeling hot under the collar from the Panthers, but at the same time, you're still kind of happy because it's not hot under the collar from Atlanta or New Orleans.
Yeah, I feel good. I like Dave Canales. I met him, and Dave Canales is like, I have no ill will for Carolina. Like there's nothing there for me to be able. They've never spoken ill. They're cool. I got no problem with it. Fucking Cam Jordan can kiss my ass. All right. And then look, all of a sudden, Bijan Robinson scores touchdowns and they lose. So you tell me. You tell me he had like 2 touchdowns and they just screw the pooch.
You finally figure out a way to use your supremely best player on the roster.
Every week they say Bijan is the best player in the NFL. Yeah, look what's happened. Y'all are 3-8. Y'all should have traded his ass. Got yourself some parts because you can't do squat with him.
Don't worry. Next week they'll realize that maybe that wasn't the serum to what ails them, and they'll go back to not using him at all.
Yeah, don't worry. He won't. No. Tyler Algier will get like 20 carries. That's what they'll do. Unreal.
Well, Buccs McGee, a lot of slop. I'm sorry for the L this week, sir. But you're still in first, even if by a tighter margin than you would like. Sir, take us off air with your final thoughts on a lot of like we thought lines drawn in the sand.
Week 11. Sometimes you got to do things the hard way, and that's how we do it down here. So it will be what it will be. But I don't know, man. The winds are changing in the AFC West. Those of you who were loving Chiefs Kingdom, think the party's over. Party could be over. Seattle, don't feel bad. You lost to the Rams. You're still in it. Still doing your thing. Buffalo, you won. But you're looking up at New England. Don't lose a game. And like we said, Atlanta, overtime to Carolina. Party's over.